Caitlin Clark's rise has been nothing short of electric, but now her journey is colliding with something far more political than athletic: control. When NBA trainer Chris Brickley, known for shaping stars like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, offered to work with her, it seemed like the perfect match. Yet the Indiana Fever's management shut the door. Their reasoning? They want her training to stay in-house, under their own supervision.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
But behind that decision lies a larger issue, an organization valuing authority over advancement. Clark, whose body has endured the toll of a grueling rookie season, is being told she can't access one of the best minds in player development. It's a situation that exposes a deep tension between what's best for a player and what makes management comfortable. What's at stake here isn't just one athlete's off-season routine. It's the future of women's basketball development. Clark has become a beacon for the sport, drawing new fans and transforming the WNBA's visibility. Forbidding her from working with someone like Brickley doesn't just limit her, it limits the league's evolution. Elite trainers exist to push boundaries and refine greatness, and denying that access sends a wrong message about how much progress organizations are willing to allow. Clark's success is bigger than any team's pride. It's the foundation for the sport's next chapter. Caitlin Clark is the face of a generation, the star who reignited America's love affair with women's basketball. She's breaking records, selling out arenas, and dragging TV ratings into territories the WNBA has never seen before. But instead of being protected, nurtured, and surrounded by the best resources money can buy, she's being blocked. Yes, blocked. By her own team. The Indiana Fever, in what can only be described as one of the most baffling organizational moves in recent memory, is reportedly standing in the way of Clark training with one of the most respected names in basketball development, Chris Brickley. Chris Brickley is not just some guy with a whistle and a gym. This is the same man who's worked with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, actual NBA royalty. His resume speaks for itself. Brickley has built a reputation for transforming elite athletes, refining their skills, and keeping their bodies sharp through the most grueling seasons. And now, he wants to help Clark level up. He's publicly expressed interest in working with her. He wants to pour his expertise into the WNBA's biggest star. But the Fever? They said no, instead of welcoming the opportunity with open arms. Indiana is reportedly keeping a tight grip on Clark's training schedule, insisting she work exclusively under supervision inside their facilities with their staff. And just to be clear, this isn't about minor differences in approach. This is about a franchise choosing control over progress. It would be one thing if the Fever's approach was working. But let's not kid ourselves. Clark's rookie season has been physically brutal. She's been knocked down, shoved around, and played through constant contact. Injuries? She's already been dealing with those. And rather than acknowledging the clear need for more tailored, elite-level training to help her adapt to the pro game, the organization is doubling down on the same formula that's barely keeping her afloat. Let's be real. The physicality in the WNBA is a different beast. It's a far cry from college ball. Defenders are tougher, schemes are more complex, and the margin for error is razor thin. Clark isn't just battling rookies. She's going head-to-head with seasoned veterans who know exactly how to wear her down. What she needs right now isn't more hours in team gym. It's access to the kind of one-on-one, customized training that someone like Brickley can provide. The irony here? NBA players do this all the time. Stars leave their team facilities in the off-season to train with external specialists. No one bats an eye. It's standard practice. The league encourages it because they know that investing in elite talent pays off. But when Caitlin Clark wants the same autonomy, suddenly it's a problem. This isn't just about one player wanting a personal trainer. It's about a larger, more troubling pattern. The lack of autonomy given athletes in women's sports, especially when their decisions threaten the fragile egos of organizations clinging to control. The Fever's refusal to let Clark work with Brickley feels less like a strategy and more like a power move. A reminder of who's in charge. And what exactly are they trying to prove? That their in-house staff knows better than a man trusted by half the NBA? That the path to greatness is paved with team loyalty and protocol over actual results? Because from where fans are sitting, it looks like Caitlin is being punished for wanting more. More from herself, more from her team, and more for the game. Let's not forget, Clark isn't just any player. She's a player. Her arrival in the WNBA has been nothing short of revolutionary. Attendance is up. Viewership is skyrocketing. Jersey sales? Through the roof. She's become a cultural force, a walking headline, a once-in-a-generation athlete who's brought unprecedented eyes to the league. And the best the Fever can offer her in return is a block number when she tries to reach out to one of the top trainers in the world. It's not just a bad look. It's a missed opportunity. A short-sighted decision with long-term consequences. Because every week that Clark isn't getting the specialized training she needs is another week her body wears down. Another week her game doesn't evolve. Another week that potential goes untapped. Not just for her, but for the league that desperately needs her at her best. And Brickley? He's not some rogue agent trying to hijack her development. He's a seasoned pro. Respectful, measured, experienced. He understands how to work with organizations. He's done it countless times. There's nothing reckless or unprofessional about this partnership. The only thing that's unprofessional here is the refusal to make it happen. The Fever's motivations might seem murky on the surface, but look a little closer, and they start to come into focus. Is this about protecting the reputation of their own staff? About not wanting to admit that someone else could do a better job? About maintaining control over the player that now defines their brand? Whatever the reason, it doesn't matter, because it's the wrong one. This obsession with control is outdated. We're in an era where athlete empowerment isn't just encouraged, it's expected. And when the face of your franchise is asking for help from one of the most trusted names in the business, you don't throw up roadblocks. You roll out the red carpet. The truth is, Clark's success benefits everyone. If she thrives, the Fever win. The league wins. The fans win. She's not just playing for herself. She's carrying the future of women's basketball on her shoulders. So why wouldn't you do everything in your power to support her? And yet, here we are. One of the brightest stars in sports is being told she can't access the tools she needs to shine. Not because it's unsafe. Not because it's a bad fit. But because her team would rather lose control than share credit. It's hard to overstate just how much this moment matters. Every decision made about Caitlin Clark echoes far beyond her personal career. It signals how much, or how little, organizations are willing to evolve to meet the standards of modern athlete development. And right now, the Fever are sending a message that's as regressive as it is baffling. Fans have taken notice. Media is watching. The league is listening. And the question they're all asking is the same. Why is this even happening? Let Clark work with Brickley. Let her get stronger, smarter, faster. Let her train the way LeBron and KD and every other top-tier athlete trains. This isn't a complicated ask. It's common sense. At the end of the day, this isn't about team pride. It's about progress. And the longer the Fever fight it, the clearer it becomes that their priorities are wildly out of sync with what's best for their star and for the sport. So what's next? Will Indiana step back and let greatness do what it does best? Or will they keep standing in the way of their own future? We'll be watching. If you're just as frustrated by this as we are, let us know in the comments. Do you think Caitlin should have full freedom to train however she wants? Or are the Fever right to keep things in-house? Hit that like button if you're rooting for player autonomy. Share this with a friend who needs to know what's really going on behind the scenes. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the drama, chaos, and corporate decisions that keep shaking up the world of sports. Here's where things start to really unravel. Because the problem isn't just that the Fever are micromanaging Clark's development. The problem is why they're doing it. At this point, it's hard not to see the insecurity behind the scenes. When you got someone like Caitlin Clark, who generates more buzz, more headlines, and more ticket sales than your entire front office combined, there's always going to be this unspoken tension. The player is the brand. And for old-school organizations, that kind of spotlight can feel threatening. Let's not sugarcoat it. Clark is bigger than the Indiana Fever. She's arguably bigger than the WNBA right now. And when an athlete carries that kind of cultural weight, the idea that she might develop outside the team's watchful eye suddenly becomes a liability to those who want to control the narrative. It's not about training. It's about optics, about power, about who gets to say they made her, and that's what makes this whole situation so backward. Because Clark doesn't need to be made. She's already here. She's already the phenomenon. The WNBA didn't make Caitlin Clark. She brought millions of new fans to them. And instead of leveraging that by giving her the freedom she's earned, the Fever are closing ranks like they're guarding national security secrets. What are they afraid of? That Brickley might actually improve her? That she might come back more efficient, more durable, more dominant? Because let's be honest, if that happens under someone else's guidance, then the team's grip on the narrative slips. They no longer get to point to her success and say, "We built that." But here's the uncomfortable truth. This kind of territorial thinking isn't just petty. It's dangerous. We've already seen what happens when athletes are denied access to the right support systems. Burnout, injury, frustration, declining performance. And if anyone thinks Caitlin Clark is immune to that because she's talented or popular or young, they haven't been paying attention. She plays hard. She's constantly targeted on defense. She's logging heavy minutes in a league that doesn't exactly have the same protective rules as its male counterpart. Her margin for recovery is already thin. So, why wouldn't you want to give her every advantage possible? Chris Brickley isn't offering spa days and pep talks. He's offering precision skill development, contact simulation, injury prevention, game-specific situational drills tailored to the exact challenges Clark faces on the court. These are the things she needs right now. Not another week running suicides in a team gym with limited innovation. And yet the Fever continue to pull the classic, "We've got a covered routine." As if we haven't all watched this team struggle to protect her on the court. As if we haven't seen her take brutal hits and limp back into games because the system she's in doesn't seem to understand or care that she's not invincible. Let's talk about that for a second. The injuries. Because that's what's really on the line here. This isn't just about enhancing performance. It's about preserving it. Clark's been targeted with physical play from day one. And while she's tough as nails, toughness doesn't shield you from ACL tears or stress fractures. That takes smart, consistent, world-class physical preparation. Exactly what someone like Brickley provides. Now contrast that with the Fever's approach. This is the same organization that seems more interested in maintaining control than adapting to what the modern game requires. A team that, by all accounts, is running its rising star into ground and then wondering why she looks fatigued halfway through the season. And then that same team is going to turn around and deny her access to external recovery and performance training? It's a masterclass in self-sabotage. And if you think this is just about Caitlin, think again. This is bigger. This is about what kind of culture the WNBA is going to build around its stars. Are we moving toward an ecosystem where player empowerment is taken seriously? Or are we clinging to a system that treats athletes like assets to be managed rather than professionals to be supported? Because in the NBA, nobody blinks when stars like Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard spend off seasons with their own performance teams. It's expected. It's respected. It's part of what keeps them elite. But Clark? She asks for the same thing and gets stonewalled. The message here is deafening. Stay in your lane. But whose lane is this really? Isn't the whole point of professional sports to build the best athletes possible? To win games? To bring in fans? To make the league stronger, more exciting, more competitive? So why are we standing in the way of that progress just to make a point? Let's not pretend this isn't also about ego. There's a real fear inside these legacy sports structures that once players start asserting independence, the old guard loses relevance. The power dynamic shifts. And that terrifies people who built careers on keeping athletes dependent and compliant. But here's the kicker. Clark doesn't need permission. She's not a high school recruit. She's a professional. She should be able to decide how she trains, who she trains with, and what she needs to maintain her level of excellence. That's not rebellious. That's responsible. The longer this drags on, the worse it reflects on Indiana's leadership. Because right now, they're not just limiting Clark's growth. They're sending a message to every young athlete watching. If you get too big, too popular, too independent, we'll clip your wings. That is not the legacy you want to build. And let's talk legacy for a moment. Caitlin Clark could be the player who reshapes the entire WNBA era. She could become the blueprint, the North Star, the standard. She's already shattered viewership records, inspired a generation, and changed how people talk about women's basketball. But none of that means anything if she's broken down by year 3, because her team was too proud to let her get the care she needs. So where does this leave us? Clark is still playing, still performing, still carrying the expectations of the league on her shoulders. But she's doing without access to a resource that could literally extend her career, elevate her skills, and protect her body. And the people standing in the way, the ones who should be helping her win, it's shameful. The best case scenario here is obvious. The Fever swallow their pride, recognize they're in over their heads, and start working with Brickley instead of blocking him. Because if they don't, they're not just risking Clark's career, they're risking their own relevance. Fans are not stupid. They can see what's happening. They know when a player is being held back. They know when the people in charge care more about appearances than outcomes. And they are not going to stay quiet about it. The WNBA is in a golden moment right now. Interest is booming. Talent is deeper than ever. And yet, decisions like this threaten to drag the league back into old patterns, ones that punish innovation, silent autonomy, and reward control over collaboration. It doesn't have to be this way. Clark deserves more than this. And not because she's famous. Not because she's marketable. But because she's a pro. A worker. An elite-level athlete trying to stay healthy, get better, and build a legacy that matters. She's doing her job. It's time the Fever do theirs. The longer this drama plays out, the more it exposes a painful truth that's been brewing in professional sports for a while. Control is still valued more than collaboration, especially when it comes to women athletes. Because let's be honest, if this were happening to an NBA rookie, a number 1 draft pick with sky-high expectations and millions of fans tuning in every night, would we even be having this conversation? Let's flip the script for a second. Imagine Victor Wembanyama being told he couldn't work with outside trainers, that he had to stick with whatever the Spurs gave him, no matter what, that he wasn't allowed to seek guidance from elite specialists with decades of experience. There would be outrage, headlines, league-wide discussions about player rights and development. Yet with Caitlin Clark, one of the most visible and impactful athletes in the country right now, it's being brushed off as protocol. That's not just frustrating, it's revealing. It shows how much farther we still have to go in treating women's sports with the same seriousness, the same investment, and the same respect. Because what Clark is asking for isn't revolutionary. It's standard practice for male athletes. She's not demanding special treatment. She's asking for the same tools her peers already get. And she's being told no. What makes it even more absurd is that Chris Brickley isn't a gamble. He's not a trendy trainer trying to build clout on Instagram. He's established. He's trained MVPs, champions, Hall of Famers. If there's anyone who knows how to strengthen a body for the demands of professional basketball, it's him. So when someone like that publicly says, "I want to help," the only answer should be, "What do you need from us to make it happen?" Instead, the Fever are clinging to the same outdated structure that has left countless athletes overworked, undersupported, and constantly managing preventable injuries. And let's not pretend like Clark's needs are hypothetical here. She's already taken a beating this season. She's dealing with physicality that would leave most rookies sidelined. And through it all, she keeps showing up, keeps playing, keeps drawing crowds. So why are we letting organizational pride stand in the way of giving her every possible advantage to keep doing that? This isn't just stubbornness. It's negligence dressed up as team policy. And if the end result is a burned-out Clark by mid-season, or worse, an injury that could have been prevented, what will the explanation be then? That she didn't follow the program? That the system just didn't work out? No, that won't fly. Not when the solution was right there. Because here's what really stings. Caitlin Clark has already done more for this franchise than they've done for her. She's brought them national relevance. She's filling arenas in every city. Her games are appointment viewing. She's not just playing basketball. She's keeping the league in the spotlight. And the return on that investment? Denying her access to elite resources that would only enhance her performance. Make it make sense. The entire business model of professional sports depends on star players being at their best. Healthy, productive, and evolving. So when a team chooses to block access to the very people who specialize in making that happen, it's not just a bad move. It's a betrayal of the player, of the fans, of the league itself. And maybe the most disappointing part, Caitlin Clark is too professional to say anything. She's not causing a scene. She's not going public with complaints. She's doing what she's always done, putting her head down, working hard, trying to be better. Meanwhile, the organization that should be moving mountains to support her is standing in her way. It's exhausting, because for every step forward women's sports takes, situations like this drag it 2 steps back. And if the Fever think they can ride Clark's star power while also limiting her behind the scenes, they're in for a rude awakening, because players talk, agents talk. The next generation of talent is watching this unfold. And if the message is come here and we'll control every inch of your growth, don't be surprised when top-tier prospects look elsewhere. You don't attract greatness by limiting it. You attract greatness by nurturing it. So the question becomes, when will the Fever realize they're not protecting Clark by holding her back? They're wasting her. And when you waste talent like hers, the consequences don't just hit the standings. They hit your credibility, your reputation, your future. Clark's window to dominate isn't infinite. Athletes only get so many peak years. Right now, she's in the early stages of what could be an all-time career, but only if she has the freedom, support, and tools to develop like the superstar she already is. If Indiana can't or won't provide that, then they need to get out of the way. Let her train with Brickley. Let her train with whoever she trusts to help her reach the next level. Because Caitlin Clark doesn't just represent a player. She represents a shift. A moment in time where the future of women's basketball could explode into something we've never seen before. Don't kill the momentum before it even peaks. If you've been following this saga, sound off below. Should players have full autonomy over their training? Or is this just how team dynamics work? Like this video, if you believe in putting athletes first. And share it if you know someone who needs to hear what's really going on. And hey, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next time an organization fumbles the bag over something as simple as letting greatness thrive.